What's worse than manipulation? Asking someone how they're doing when you don't actually give a flying fuck. People just want to talk to people, and humans are starving for humans. That's the problem right now. People are doing all this NPC talk to literally just avoid talking to another person. Like when somebody says, "Hey, how are you doing today?" "Good. How are you?" "You?" "Good." That whole thing is just like this script that auto fires, it seems, all the time, especially in the corporate world, and it doesn't seem to fail. And even in my case, I answer the phone a lot in my job. So I'll answer the phone and I go, "Hey, this is me. How can I help you?" or whatever. And then they're like, "Hey, how are you doing?" And before I even can utter a word, they start going, "Well, I need blah, 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 blah." They start just going right after it, telling me what they need. So then I'm sitting there thinking, I'm doing well. I just kind of say it back to them, and then it kind of catches them off guard because then they realize, oh, shit, I did just ask this guy how he was doing, then immediately didn't even listen. So that's just what's so weird to me, because they actually didn't care, but they asked anyway because they were on NPC mode and just auto firing the script. So everyone's doing this to each other constantly and participating, and no one is present. Like, everyone knows that conversation you have. It's just the same old thing over and over. So I call people as well. I'm on the other end of the stick. I call a bank, I call utility companies, I call my doctor. And these people are just sick and tired of answering the phone. Or they're getting paid like three Snickers bars, $7.25 an hour, and maybe a Shell gift card. And then I call them up and I'm like, "Hey, how are you doing today?" And I actually wait, let them answer. They might just be short and be like, "Good, I'm doing good," whatever. Well, they typically will go to the next part of the script, which is, "How are you?" And I always say, "Epic." It sounds really stupid, but I swear that alone is like an interrupt to just the NPC talk. So whenever they're like, "Oh, how are you?" I'm like, "Epic." I gave them like a real ass answer so they can't just dodge it. And maybe they think, "Oh wow, what a goober." But also I didn't say anything too crazy or far away from good to where it seems like I'm just gonna be a total shithead and take up all their time, or I'm just joking around. It normally actually captures their curiosity, like, "Oh, epic! Did something really good happen to you?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I'm just doing really well." And all of a sudden, it's kind of taken this NPC conversation and segued it into a natural, good flowing, fun conversation. And a lot of time, these people, I'll call them, and all due respect, and people who do these jobs and everything, but it sounds like they have a gun in their mouth, and I'm like, God, like, just chill out. Like, it's not that bad. Like, we're just on a phone chatting it up. Help me out with what you need, and let's have a good conversation. And sometimes I'll talk to them about totally random things unrelated, and maybe it's not the most time efficient thing, but isn't that like capitalism NPC think? Like, why not have a conversation with the bank operator and see what's good? Then you go to the bank and there's a long line. They're like, "Oh, what's up?" Like, I've had things pan out like that for me all the time by having these intentional conversations. And don't get me wrong, sometimes you see somebody you don't want to talk to, you're at the grocery store, you're trying to get in, get out, not do too much for the day. How you doing? I'm doing good. Okay, doing well. All right, yeah, you do. Bye. Like, whatever. I get that. But we're in a generation where so many people are at home just on the computer. They go from work, turn off the bad screen, go home, turn on the good screen. The few interactions they have a day, whether it's on the phone, at work, calling people, or they go get food somewhere, those are the chances to have those real interactions. And I'm not saying you have to say epic or whatever. That just tends to be what works for me. Like, I tried other things as well, like fantastic, awesome, whatever. But a lot of those still feel like they felt dead. Like, I'm just being extra, like I'm saying good, but adding a little spice on top. But epic just seems to be so like random and not heard of that it really perks their ears up. And if you think about it, if you're familiar with chess at all, like I know I'm a nerd, chess is like a big nerd thing or whatever. But honestly, if you don't play chess, you're kind of a chud and you should check it out. But it makes so much sense for what I'm about to say. So, conversation is like chess. So, and you start playing chess to somewhat of like even a sub beginner level, you start to have to learn openings. And in openings, there's like a correct move. You like memorize the answer. But the second you get out of your memory, you start playing with intuition, and that's when the most fun happens in the game. And if you watch like really high level chess with the best players in the world, typically they like getting in this fun zone as often as they can. So they'll intentionally play moves that are a little like weird or out there that don't get played a lot just to get in this intuitive zone. But you have to memorize just enough to get to that zone to not lose the game. Like if you play a random move right off the rip that doesn't make sense, it's probably just a bad move and you're going to cook yourself alive. But in a conversation, it actually makes a lot more sense to kind of treat it like a chess opening where you can do the autopilot thing, but you're going to have a boring game that doesn't go anywhere fun. It's too predictable. And life should be played more like the middle game: intuitive, fun, present, thinking, strategizing. That is where the most fun occurs. And I get why people use the scripts. It's what they've always done. It's a habit if a habit's ever been one, right? You've said it since you were a kid. You've heard adults say it when you're looking up to them. And saying good is just like invisible. Saying epic is something vulnerable. And it's not really laziness, it's just fear. And the thing is, whenever I say epic, are there people that probably think, wow, this guy is stupid? Maybe. But there's also a lot of people that think, wow, why is this guy epic? I'm curious. And then I have a good interaction with somebody. So the risk really is, would you rather be invisible or would you rather risk looking stupid? And to me, I don't mind to look stupid at all. Like if you fear looking stupid or fear being cringe, you're shooting yourself in the foot every time you don't take that risk. And yeah, it's scary. It's scary to take the risk. Do it anyway. When you have courage to be real, the number one thing you do for others is you give them permission to also be themselves, because being yourself really is scary. And everyone always says, what even is being yourself? Like, I am being myself. Well, me, when somebody asks how I'm doing and I say epic, it's just instant permission for the other person to know, like, hey, this is not that serious. Let's turn it down. Let's keep the tone chill and let's have some fun. And they feel like they can match my energy. Maybe they say things they wouldn't say, especially in my line of work. People might start like cussing or saying things that aren't even relevant to the conversation or being more personable. But if I answer the phone all formal, like, hello, this is blah, blah, blah with business. How can I help you with your affairs today? Like, they're going to talk to me like a clean cut business thing that's being recorded to put on Disney Channel. I don't want that. I want to talk to somebody like straight up. And in sales and things like that, I think it's important to not be a sales breath slime bag and just talk to people like they're normal people. That's why it works so well. And sales has such a bad like reputation from being manipulative or talking people into things they don't want or need. But at the end of the day, sales is really important just for the reason that if you're real and you actually help people find the solutions to their problems by being a good, authentic, helpful person, that's the best thing you can do. I mean, at one point, some sales guy had to convince people that the broom was old news and the vacuum was the new hot thing, and it really was. It saves so much time and energy and effort. And basically, what I'm getting at is if you're the vacuum salesman that's like, the vacuum is so amazing, it does this, this, and this. I think being real is just like, dude, this vacuum is blowing the broom out of the water. Let me show you. And if you don't want it, great. If you do, awesome. You're not really talking to anybody to anything. You're letting the product speak for itself and do its thing. And people respect you being real and putting it out there. And more than anything else, I've come to find. So instead of being NPC mode, autopilot, and doing those conversations, you basically have endless opportunities every day to seize that conversation. And when somebody gives you the scripts, you give them something real and you immediately gain control of the conversation in a non manipulative, sneaky way to just have fun and make them remember you. I have all kinds of people come up to me and say, how are you doing today? Because they know I'm going to say, I'm doing epic. They just love to hear me say it because it's fun and they feel like they're in on something, which they are. It's like an inside joke I have with everybody. So find your own sauce, copy mine. I don't really care, but be a real one. The world's got enough NPCs.